Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy and healthy life. Not as disabled people, but as people with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. How you feeling today, my friends? You feeling good? You feeling strong? You feeling better than you did yesterday? Excellent. You can't ask for better than that. We're at the end of 2022. Thank God. Let the door close on this year. I'm ready for the chapter to close. I'm ready for a new chapter to open. I want to apologize before we start. I want to apologize to all the listeners out there. Usually, over the last 5 years, I always have a podcast for the holidays. I podcast right before Christmas, right around Thanksgiving, and this year I didn't. But I have an excuse. Believe me, I have an excuse. I was in the hospital for a cardiac catheterization right around Thanksgiving time. I had a blockage that they had to take care of, and they did, and I was out. But then I had a problem breathing, and at the same time I had an infection in my right leg, my only leg, that turned my leg a bright red, fire engine red. And on December 6th, they admitted me to the hospital again, and I was in there for a week or so. On IV antibiotics, and they were working on my breathing, and I was released from the hospital on December 11th because the infection in my leg and my breathing problems seemed to subside a bit. I was home for a week, and I had gone to wound care to have them assess my leg again, and on December 19th, the doctor said, "You have to go straight from here to the hospital. I'm calling, and I'm going to make arrangements for them to admit you." The infection came back with vengeance. So there I was. On the 19th, I had to go directly to the hospital, and they admitted me again, and they put me on IV antibiotics. And on the 22nd, they said they didn't like the way my foot was looking because the redness wasn't going away, but at the same time, my toes were starting to turn grayish black. Never a good sign. So they did a CT scan and a Doppler and all this other stuff. And the next thing I know, on December 23rd, they said, "We're going to have to do an angiogram and an angioplasty." And that was all right. So they had me NPO, no food or anything. And that was the day of the big storm here in the Northeast, and there was multiple accidents, and they said that the emergency room was tied up, and they weren't going to be able to do, the operating room rather was tied up, and they weren't going to be able to do my procedure that day, so they put it off till Christmas Eve at 8 a.m. in the morning. In the morning, they brought me down, and the blockage was bigger in my right femoral artery than they thought. So what was supposed to be a 20-minute procedure turned into a 45-minute procedure. They got the blockage out, but they had to put another stent. So now I have 2 stents in my femoral artery. And they said, "We don't know if you're going to be able to go home because we put a stent in and the whole bit." They sent me back to my room after recovery, and they watched me the rest of the day. Luckily, that night, they let me go home. And then I put the caveat that I'd come back on the 27th, which I did. And I found out that I have another blockage that has to be taken care of, but it can't be taken care of with an angioplasty or an angiogram. They have to open me up to do it because it's in the groin area. But we're going to take care of that in 3 weeks or so. Anyway, that's the reason I didn't have the podcast. That's the reason the apple fritters didn't come out. It was because I was in the hospital, and I apologize for that. It was out of my hands, but I apologize that I wasn't able to get notice to anybody what was going on. And it's the same thing on the Living with a Disability page. I wasn't able to get notice to anyone on that about what was going on, but that's going to be taken care of. I'm going to get an assistant administrator on that page. But that's something else. But I do want to apologize, and I do want to say I hope everybody had a wonderful Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a warm, happy holiday. I hope everybody did. And I want to wish everybody, from my family to yours, from the bottom of my heart, a happy, a healthy, prosperous new year. I hope 2023 is the best year yet. We can put all the rest of this stuff behind us. Put 2022 behind us. Let's forget about anything bad that happened in 2022 and look for the best in 2023. Look for the best only. Now, speaking of 2023, let's look at resolutions. You know, ever since I was a kid, resolutions were always, what's your resolution? Well, I'm going to give up this and I'm going to stop doing that. A resolution shouldn't be what you give up. A resolution should be something that you're going to do. Be resolute about what you're going to do. In other words, like a person that wants to lose weight. They say, for example, I'm giving up cake and cookies. What good is that? So you give up cake and cookies, but you're still drinking soda, you're still eating candy. Your resolution should be not that you're giving up cake and cookies, but your resolution is, I'm going to lose weight. So you still eat your cake and cookies. You eat in moderation. Everything done in moderation. Same thing with people that are smokers or vapors. You're not going to cut back on smoking or vaping. You know, you get a pack of cigarettes. There's 20 cigarettes in a pack, right? Cutting back could mean, well, I'm only going to smoke 19 out of the 20 cigarettes. That's not quitting. That's a I don't know, weaselly way of saying I'm cutting back. You don't say you're cutting back. You say you're quitting. You're resolute about it. You're quitting. Resolutions should be what you're going to do, not what you're cutting back on. Not what you're going to stop doing. It's what you're going to do. That's a resolution. Now, speaking of 2022, I want you to remember this. Never regret a day in your life. Never. Good days give you happiness. Bad days give you experience. Your worst days give you lessons. And your best days, they give you memories. So every day gives you something. You just got to look on the positive side. No one ever went blind by looking at things from the bright side. So you got to give that a shot. Look at things from the bright side. This is a new year. This is a new birth for us. Look at things positively. Don't look at things negatively. Don't look for the dark side of anything. Just look for the positive. Look for the positive. If you look for the positive, you're going to find it. If you look for the negative, you're going to find it too. But try to stay on track. Look for the positive in things. When you look for the positive, you'll find it. Like I said, no one ever went blind by looking at things from the bright side. So look for the bright side of things this year. It'll help you out tremendously. If the negative rears its ugly head, punch it out. Put it away. Get rid of it. Try to stay positive for 2023. I know that's my resolution. I'm staying positive for 2023. If you stay positive, positive things will come to you. One more thing. Remember this. No matter what happens, things can always be worse. Remember, there's someone somewhere wishing that they were in your position. So things can always be worse. You know, try to make someone smile. Be the reason somebody smiles. That's going to make you feel good and it's going to make them feel good. Positivity is going to be the word for 2023. That's the word for an apple a day for 2023. Positivity. I want to remind you, an apple a day is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. Famousapple.com is the home site for this podcast. So if you get a minute, check it out. While you're tripping around the web, make sure you stop by our group page on Facebook. That's Living with a Disability. There's people over there chatting, there's people there talking, there's people making friends, there's people asking questions, answering questions. They're having fun. Why shouldn't you have fun? Join the group. Go to www.famousapple.com/group. Brings you right to the group on Facebook, Living with a Disability. You'll have a good time. I can guarantee that. Well, you've been listening to An Apple a Day. I just wanted to say Happy New Year to you and your family, from me and my family and the other people here at An Apple a Day and Famous Apple. Have a great one, my friends. I will talk to you again on January 1st, 2023. My name is Jimmy Apple. Happy New Year.